Good morning. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. Everybody that doesn't know what the show is, I basically go over crypto news or news in general in the space, update myself, bring you guys along for the ride. As you can see, I'm not home. I am still remote in the Mushroom Kingdom with my man Mario. No, we're in a garage and it's quite echoey, so I apologize for that. But damn, Bitcoin has been on a tear the last week. Literally every time I leave the state, Bitcoin or crypto pumps every single time. It's absolutely insane. But this is wild. $99,000 Bitcoin. It actually cracked it yesterday for a brief moment. I think it was like 99,400 or something. Didn't hit 100. I wonder if it's going to hit 100 today though. Very interesting to see if it will or not. Let me get this all situated, then I'll say hello to everybody in the chat. Let's pop over to the market. See what we're looking like, and then we'll jump into some news and stuff. If the music or anything's too loud, please let me know in the chat. All right, Mr. Steven Cicero, my man, good to see you, buddy. We got Cape Cod Crypto, Leo Lustig, what's up, man? Alexander, Chris Hanley, Nismo, what's up, man? Good to see you. I need my BTC. Me also. Good to see you, buddy. Pant my bags. Dude, there's one YouTuber, I'm not gonna say anything, but every time he says pump, he's like, pamp. It drives me nuts every single time. It's so funny. He's a huge Caspa maxi. But no, he's a good dude. He makes good content. Let's see. Anybody else that I missed in the chat? Probably a lot. Nismo, what's up, man? Good to see you. Nick K, good morning. Mr. Olo, good to see you, buddy. Cape Cod Crypto. Let's see. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Let's just get into this, man. Look at this. Bitcoin. 98,413 bucks. Damn. Again, it was $1,000 higher, 99.4 yesterday. Ethereum is over here at 3,335 bucks. Damn. That's amazing. Solana at $258. God. Actually, Solana, that broke an all-time high. Solana broke its all-time high. Did it not? Hell yeah. Absolutely. That's amazing. Who's into Solana? Good for you guys. It's awesome. Look at XRP. I won't support this coin anymore, but $1.44, up almost 30%. That is wild. ADA, 90 cents. Holy shit. Look at that. XLM, 29 cents. We're about to have a super cycle, guys. This is crazy. This is crazy. I wonder if we're gonna have a pullback though. I wonder if we're gonna have a pullback next Friday. Typically, it's when we see it, Black Friday. We get like some sort of, you know, retracement. People sell off, buy shit, go on family trips, do things along those lines. But I don't know if it's gonna happen this time. It's crazy. I think it might, but I don't know. It really depends where Bitcoin goes. If Bitcoin breaks 100K, who knows? We're already in no man's land right now, so we don't know what the hell's gonna happen. But look at LTC, 91 bucks. Nice. Looks pretty good. ETC's at $28. Atom at $7, up 8%. OP is up 14% to $2.17. Damn. Dogecoin. Someone said it hit 43 cents. Did it hit 43 cents? Is that 40 cents right now? 40 and a half. Dude, Hadouken to Dogecoin. Amazing. HBAR. How's HBAR doing? Let's see. 8.32% up on the day. 13 cents. Nice. Not too bad. Let's go to Crypto Bubbles real quick. See what we got over here. Ooh, we got biggest earner of the day seems to be XRP. Wow, look at that, $1.44. I'm kind of pissed I sold out of it a bit early, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. I don't know. They're a freaking mess. That whole company's a mess. XLM, 20% up on the day, 29 cents. Hopefully you guys still holding your XRP though. Make that money, man. Take profits, don't forget, please. 90 cents on Cardano. I took profits at like 60 cents and I still have some, but I didn't expect it to run as fast as it did. It's doing really good. It's ranked 9th now in the top 100 coins. That's crazy. Let's see, GOAT, this meme coin, Goatius Maximus, is down a bit today, 18.2% to 90 cents. Not that anybody really cares about this, ranked 97th place. Nothing else really jumping out at me. Everything's looking fantastic. Caspa though, what the fuck is going on with Caspa? 14.87. Someone poke it with a stick and tell it to do something, please. The best layer 1 technology out there, in my opinion. I just wailed the microphone, apologize. It's just kind of floating sideways. It's quite annoying, I'm not gonna lie. It had a sell the news event with the Kraken listing, the tier 1 exchange in the US. Kind of disappointing. I didn't think Kraken was gonna do too much for it. I think Coinbase and Binance, once it gets on those platforms, it'll do much better, but again, only time will tell. It took a bit for Bitcoin to be adopted, and I think Caspa's on the same track, to be honest. Fair launch project. It is meant to be a payment system. It'll do fine eventually. ADA, dude, ADA is freaking killing it. I'm so happy for ADA. 13.3 cents. I told you guys, at like 30 cents, this thing was an easy 3 to 6x. Easy. It's gonna be a nice one for sure. This run, it's gonna be crazy. Alt season is gonna be freaking fantastic. All right, flashbang. Oh God, ads. No, how do I get out of here? God damn it. What the hell? All right, dude, I hate Chrome. Look at this shit all over my screen. Why am I not using Brave Browser? I don't get it. But we are at extreme greed at a 94. That is terrifying. This is terrifying. This is why I think we're gonna have a pullback on Friday, next Friday, or close to next Friday. Holidays usually, again, people travel, spend money, take profits. This is, this 94, that's pinging this thing as high as it could be. I mean, obviously this is kind of just overall metrics, right? What's going on in the market in general. It's not exact science, but I live by this, and this thing is like, this thing's not I guess it's never proven wrong, I guess, right? When people are extremely greedy, it's time for you to be scared. Like, get the fuck out, take your profits. Excuse my language, that's what you need to do, okay? Please, for the love of God. Things can go up still, but you should be scaling out at least some profits and then just jump back in and this thing kind of resets. That's what I do. It's, you know, teach his own, do what you want. Don't take advice from people on YouTube, it's your first mistake. All right, top 10 coins. Over here on CoinGecko, buy coin market cap. We got Bitcoin. It hit a $2 trillion market cap yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody mentioned that in a live stream I was listening to. Absolutely insane. Actually, it might have been Hawk's live stream last night. Somebody said Bitcoin hit a market cap of 2 trillion, but it's at a 1.95, which is amazing at 98,733 bucks. We got Ethereum again in second place. Tether, Solana, BNB, XRP, Dogecoin, USDC, Lido staked Ether, and Cardano. It says it's in 10th place. Crypto Bubble says it was in 9th, but regardless, 10th place at a $32 billion market cap. That's crazy. Look how much it flipped Tron. Tron's at 17 billion in 11th place. Told you Cardano deserved to be in 10th place. That's crazy. It literally is almost double the market cap of Tron now. Insane. I want Shiba to pump too. I got 100 million of that sitting on Coinbase. I need to get rid of it. It's been driving me nuts. Please, somebody run that thing up so I can just get rid of it. Oh God. All right, Near Protocol, I think is gonna be another one that's gonna do good in this bull run. Near's, it has promise, and it's still 72% down on the from the all-time high. $20 is its all-time high. So I think Near's gonna do well. That's my opinion. Again, don't take advice from people on YouTube. That would be a first mistake. Caspa, $3.7 billion market cap in 37th place. I think ETC is going to do fine as well, just for the noobs coming into the space, not understanding the difference between Ethereum Classic and Ethereum. But again, to each his own on that one. Solana close to flipping USDT. Is it? I didn't look. I didn't see. Market cap. Oh shit. Oh shit. It is. Solana. They broke their all-time high, didn't they? Let me see. They did 9 hours ago. A Dukin. Wow, that's amazing. Good for them. I want to see if I can hear myself. These headphones, I can't. I still don't know how to use this damn Go XLR thingy. But that's amazing. Absolutely amazing for Solana. 262 bucks. Freaking wild. Absolutely wild. All right, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, nothing else I really want to talk about here. I mean, you guys know, market's going up. It's getting crazy. Things are getting crazy, people. All right, let's refresh this real quick. Mining, you guys know, I like to check out the miners just to timestamp these things, see where we're at. AlphaPex DG Hydro 1, 20 gigahashes on LTC and Doge, making $37.96 a day at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. After you pay 10 cents, you guys, this is your profits. Obviously, my electric rate's like 3 times that amount, but nonetheless, you get the gist, right? L9, 17 gigahash unit over here, making $36.35 a day. We get the, 17 gigahash unit. We got the 16 gigahash unit, making $34.21. Nice. The DG1 plus 14 gigahash unit, making $27.58 a day. The AL1 Pro, a lithium. How's a lithium doing? I'm gonna have to check this in a second. We got 16.6 terahash unit, making $23.59, and the 15.6 making $22.16. Let's see. A lithium. How's a lithium doing? About as I would expect. At least it's $1.50. That's pretty good. It's been rising over the last couple days. About 40 cents up or so. 30 cents, 35. Nice. It's been real choppy waters for lithium. 3 months. Look at the 3-month chart. Doesn't look, I mean, it looks like shit, but it's coming up. At least it broke this top right here. That's better than it not. It's better. It's starting to climb the ladder, hopefully. It didn't make a new low. That's good. It didn't make a lower low over the, I guess this would be what? Would that be 3 months? When was this? July? July was a low of 103, July 13th. So it didn't make a new low. That's good. You don't want that to happen. You want it to hold support. At least 103, that would be really bad. But nonetheless, the lithium, people are just trying to get their money back, I understand. The L7 9050 gigahashes. You guys know I got this thing, sorry, it's 9 gigahashes, 9050 megahashes. I got this thing down at Terra Hosting. Shout out to them if you guys are interested in hosting. Links in the description. But $15.69 a day on a 3-year-old plus machine. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. What is this? Bombax miner EZ100 Pro. Interesting. You're just going to ignore that wattage on the DG1. I didn't even look at it. Oh my God. It's a 6,200 watts. Holy shit. Good call. I didn't even notice that. That's all right. That's awful. There's nothing like the 11,000 we saw for that Bitcoin miner. Right here. 11,180 watts. You literally need a service just for that. That's crazy. But this Bombax EZ100 Pro, interesting. 15.5 gigahashes, mining ETC hash, $11.02 a day. Interesting. 3,100 watts. Weird. How's my S19K doing? Actually, you know what? How is the K? You know what? I haven't looked at my solar trailer at all. That just caught me. I'm gonna have to turn on some of my miners today. Oh, apparently it's been shitty at home. So this is the nice thing I can see. Hold on, let me see. I can see all my stuff. This is why I love my solar stuff. See that? I can see the batteries charging right there. I'm only pulling 200 watts right now. It's only bringing in 652 watts, so it must be cloudy as shit. But this is, I love being able to see all of my solar stuff. That's, all right, I don't feel bad about not turning anything on now. Clearly it's been crappy up there. But yeah, anyways, where's the KS, what is it, the KS2 Lite or something? Yeah, KS2 Lite, 2 terahash unit. Ugh. Jesus, losing 18 cents a day. That's terrible. 10 cents per kilowatt hour? That's ass. What the hell's going on here? Oh, my camera messed up. I screwed up my face. Hold on, gotta fix this thing. This thing face tracks. It's super annoying, but it's super awesome, actually. This DJI 3, if you guys are looking for a good camera, DJI 3 Pocket, it's really good. It's really good quality too. It's kind of shocking. What was I doing? S19K. I want to see what my S19K is looking like. Probably ass. Definitely. How is it still ass? I don't understand this. 120 terahashes. Excuse me. I don't have a mute button. 120 terahashes over here. Losing 59 cents a day. at a $98,000 Bitcoin. What in the fuck is going on? Why? That is miserable. God. All right, I'm done. I hate this. I don't like mining anymore. I don't like mining anymore. Come on, what's going on? There we go. Try to zoom in a bit, not that much, there we go. All right, top of the charts, Leo over here. Most profitable miner, sorry. I'm working off 2 screens, this is a mess. Trying to like figure out my chat and stuff. Mr. Rude Puts, thanks for being a member for 34 months. Sorry, I don't got DJ screaming. Are we at the 100K yet? Let's go, Dogecoin to the moon. Hey, happy Friday, by the way. I saw your Discord message. You're awesome, I appreciate you, buddy. Leo BTG on the top of the charts over here. Nice hash, Autolycos, Ravencoin. How's Raven doing? Probably not good. 2 cents, it's at 2 cents. I sold it 4, people made fun of me. You bastards, you know who you are. I sold right over here. Right here somewhere. I don't know. We're gonna see what happens. You know what? It might come back, but might not. I don't know if I have hopes for Raven. I think it just works and it just does what it's supposed to do and that's it. I don't think anybody really cares about it. Flux on the 69.50. What's Flux doing? Probably a big fat nothing. 4.32%, 58 cents. How's Dynex doing? Dynex up 1%, 26. Oh my God. 26 cents, Dynex. What in the frick is going on? What is happening? That's ass. That's not good. That's really bad. Oh my, gross. Broke that? Ew. Dude, this shit needs to hold. Oh my God. I'm gonna leave it alone. But that doesn't look good. Nobody tell Yeti. All right, moving on. Let's see what the news got to say over here. This was yesterday, as you guys know. I wasn't, sorry, I just had to kill the music. It's getting annoying. Over here, you guys know I wasn't live yesterday, so I'm catching up on a few things. This is 23 hours ago. What is this? Oh yeah, this is what Mike Novogratz. World needs to notice Trump's cabinet is largely pro-Bitcoin. Mike Novogratz is a huge Bitcoin bull. Let's see what he's got to say over here on CNBC television.
Joining us right now to talk about that and so much more. Galaxy founder and CEO Mike Novogratz. We're closing in, as we said, 100. When does that happen, sir?
You know, today, tomorrow, it feels almost inevitable at this point. You know, when markets get close to targets, they hit them. Listen, what I think listeners have to understand is when Donald Trump got elected, there was a paradigm change. And we have a hard time trading paradigm changes. What I mean by that is 4 years with a really harsh regulatory and political climate for people in this industry, and now wide open. The entire cabinet almost owns Bitcoin and is proponents of digital assets. I mean, Kennedy said his whole net worth is in Bitcoin. So the people around that table are very pro this space. They're pro innovation, they're pro digital assets, they're pro Bitcoin. And I think the rest of the world has to take notice, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it with buying from the Mideast. Right now, there seems to be an almost inexhaustible demand from the public equity markets. You look at MicroStrategy, what Michael Saylor's doing, and that's the real big buyer of crypto right now. People funding in the equities, using those monies to buy Bitcoin. But you know, normally you hit 100, you bounce off of it. I would not be surprised if, you know, we go much higher. We're in price discovery. There's not a lot of supply. There had been a giant seller for the last week between 92, 93, and 94, probably $14-15 billion of Bitcoin sold there. I know because we saw the buying, not us personally, but the U.S.
Right.
market.
But Mike, so as a trader, though, if you're just trying to trade this, as you know so well, there are times when it blows through whatever you think the target is, and 100, you're saying, yeah, maybe it blows through that. There's also been these sort of remarkable retrenchments where, you know, it retraces 50%.
Yeah, listen, there's a ton of leverage. I don't think it'll retrace 50%. I am very confident we don't go back below 80. Very confident, right? That's kind of where we took off for 76, 77.
Oh, wow.
You know, pre-election, that election move. It would be shocking to me if we went back. But listen, there's a ton of leverage in the system right now. You look at these 3 times levered, you know, MicroStrategy ETFs, 2-time levered. You look at the funding rates to do crypto in our market, right? The perpetual market, as high as they've been. The basis is high. And so the crypto community is levered to the gilts. And so there will be a correction. Well,
so this just speaks to that, though, because, every time you say the word leverage, I think those who are risk managers, it's like a red flag. They hear that and it's like a bell goes off. Leverage in the system, and here we are talking about 2 and 3 times leverage. I don't know if you think that's too much leverage, but if that were to quote unquote break, how would that manifest itself?
Well, listen, I mean, the Bitcoin's a 50, 60 vol asset, and why do you need any leverage on it? But people have leverage on it, right? MicroStrategy's 100 plus vol stock, and to double leverage that, seems like you're asking for trouble at one point. And so there will be some sharp corrections, certainly in the stocks that are more levered than the underlying commodity itself. Right. By definition, there has to be. You don't know where it comes from.
Oh, what the hell? God damn it. I hate how they break up these clips. I grabbed a second one right here. They just like stop in the middle of them talking. It's so annoying.
Right now, banks can't hold crypto on their balance sheet, for goodness sakes. That will change relatively quick.
So, Mike, if that were to happen, what are we talking about here? Meaning, if we're at 100, call it 100,000 now. Once that happens, is that?
I love watching this guy Andrew talk because he laughed, he giggled when people told him it was going to get to 100,000, like a year ago. It was like 30,000. He literally laughed.
Already baked into these prices, or do you say, then it's 200,000?
Well, we're moving in that direction, right? Like, if you think about gold at, what's gold, $16 trillion now? I haven't looked recently. Probably close to 16 trillion, right? That's 800,000 Bitcoin. And young people don't like gold. Bitcoin is their gold. Young people live in a digital world. And so as this money goes from baby boomers to younger people, there's a natural progression of out of gold into Bitcoin. And so Bitcoin should catch gold in the next 3 to 5 years, 5 to 10 years. It's hard to make these predictions.
You mean the entire size of the market?
Yes. So that would be 800,000 Bitcoin. And so it's not going to get there overnight. But one of the things that was holding back, not just Bitcoin, but innovation in the whole crypto sector, was a really, really aggressive SEC and U.S. government. And that's all going to change. And so I think, don't underestimate. Like, you got to give a shout out to the crypto community who has persevered, right, in small meetups. And then, this is hitting 100,000 is going to be a big deal for that giant group of people that have spent a long time. And remember, this whole experiment got life because of fiscal instability, right? Because governments just kept running larger deficits.
But to that point, if Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy do their job, you would think there'd be less instability.
And I watch this very closely. I mean, the same president who's picking Linda McMahon to run education and Matt Gaetz to run Attorney General might have the, 4 of the best candidates to run our economy that I could think of, with Mark Rowland, Scott Bessent, right, Kevin Warsh, and Bill Hagerty. Like, any combination of those guys is the A-team. And those guys plus Elon and Vivek, if they actually bend the curve of debt to GDP, if they actually cut our deficit, if they actually cut inefficiency, the story for Bitcoin is less appealing, period. And so to do that, they're going to have to tackle Social Security and Medicare, and they got to get through a very close Congress, right? The Senate is 3 seats, 4 seats. The House is 4 or 5 seats.
But wait a second. Donald Trump himself says he doesn't want to tackle Social Security and Medicare and cut people's benefits.
You can't cut the deficit unless you attack those.
I can't imagine him doing that just because it's something he's always been opposed to. He's not going to want to take blowback from the people who put him into office.
And if that's the case, which is the case most people are betting on, with all the great intentions, Bitcoin goes higher, gold goes higher. You've got to keep printing dollars.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, it does make Bitcoin less appealing if they can fix the economy with, the dollar and all that. But I don't think Bitcoin's going to stop. We're in a new world revolution over here with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as a whole. Bitcoin hits fresh record, marches towards 100,000. Let's see what they got to say over here. Again, CNBC Television.
Bitcoin this month, it's up more than 40% since Trump was elected, more than 125% on the year. .com's Tanea McKeel has been tracking the action, and she has more for us. Tanea.
Morning, David. Yeah, Bitcoin could certainly hit 100K as soon as today. This latest move higher, partly driven by some technical trading issues in the futures market, specifically a spike in funding rates and November open interest overnight. Also, one thing holding traders back is that Bitcoin options at 100,000, expiring on November 24th, have become a dominant hedging point here. So after they expire this weekend, with them expiring this weekend, many traders will be incentivized to hold on at this level. Now, of course, the overarching theme is still the excitement and hope that Trump Trump will usher in this golden age of crypto. That would include a more friendly regulatory environment and potentially a national strategic Bitcoin reserve or stockpile. Bitcoin ETFs also passed $1 billion in assets yesterday. So I think you're going to see that demand continue to grow as institutions become more comfortable with this asset class.
If he actually does this no tax on crypto, by the way, you better believe a lot of big money is going to come into this, only because, again, no tax on crypto. Big guys are going to be smart with that for sure.
Institutions via the ETF products that launched earlier this year, I think, could become an even bigger driver of the Bitcoin price, while over in the spot market, you might see attention start to turn more to revenue-generating blockchains like Ethereum. So looking over at stocks, Coinbase shares a little under pressure, while Bitcoin proxies like MicroStrategy and Mara Holdings have been rising this morning with Bitcoin. And I think that is in part reflective of the Bitcoin versus everything else in crypto division that we've been seeing here in the action since the election. Guys?
Yeah, obviously the Bitcoin tax would be only, in U.S. crypto, yeah. But as a whole, it's going to affect the entire market because a lot of rich people are in the U.S. and that money will flood into crypto. You know what I mean? And that's obviously global.
Tanea, if I can sort of ask you a question, bridging together what we heard from Megan Casella, if we do end up hearing that Senator Bill Hagerty ends up being a Treasury pick and he's called Bitcoin Bill, I mean, do you imagine that would be another catalyst, and could that push us beyond that 100,000 threshold that seems to be sort of a technical sticking point?
Yeah, Courtney, that would be a huge deal. It's so important, and I know that the SEC chair and also this idea that's come up of a crypto czar heading into the White House, also a very big deal. But I think the role in the Treasury, it addresses so much of the challenge that crypto has had in the past 4 years, because it's not just about the state of whether a coin is a security or not. I think, for Bitcoin, that's been de-risked for a bit, but the Treasury would really just give that top-down messaging that allows for broader crypto-forward innovation and support for the industry.
Hey, Tanea, what's the point of a Bitcoin national reserve? I mean, it reminds me of the petroleum reserve, but what is the actual point of it?
It's a great question. It is my personal opinion or concern that a Bitcoin national reserve or even stockpile would not necessarily address all of the challenges that the crypto industry has had on the regulatory front. That said, nothing wrong with the idea of a Bitcoin reserve or stockpile. I think that would be very welcome. Whether it is a reserve or stockpile remains to be seen. They're definitely talking about that, and that theme sort of hit a fever pitch recently. Obviously, if it's a stockpile, that removes some of the risk of sell pressure. What the U.S. would be tapping the reserve for, I'm not sure. We will see.
Tanea, thank you. We'll watch the price closely, just tantalizingly close.
Yeah, that'll definitely help with stability in the market for sure. A lot of people are going to see that as, if the government's holding it, why wouldn't you hold it? It's kind of, it just makes sense. And then obviously the government would help. It would help the government get out of debt. The dollar's only losing by the day or by the second, right? Bitcoin in value has been going up consistently. It's no different than holding gold in a stockpile, right? All right, let's see. We are building a long runway of growth. I think this is about NVIDIA, some AI stuff. Let's see what they got to say over here.
Let's take a look at the NVIDIA ecosystem and the companies helping to build out AI. Digital Realty is a key NVIDIA partner, providing data centers to host NVIDIA's complex AI technology. Digital Realty has a $60 billion market cap. The stock's up nearly 40% just this year, so don't sleep on this one. Joining us now, Digital Realty President and CEO Andy Power. Andy.
Oh, real quick, Crypto KJ. By the way, the reason for XRP pump is Gary leaves on January 20th, confirmed. What? I didn't know that. That's sick. Where'd you read that? Send me the link.
Obviously, congratulations on all the success that you've had so far. You just reported earnings and kind of an upbeat outlook going forward. What are your expectations for, say, the next several quarters for your company, Digital Realty?
Real quick, also, sustainable crypto. Anyone have issues with Changely? I have had issues one time swapping. I forget what I was swapping, actually. It took a while, though. It took like 4 hours for me to swap something, and it was annoying. I actually reached out, and then they got back to me, and it was fine after a couple hours. But it was weird. It took a little while, but that was the only one hiccup I ever had with Changely. If you guys don't know what that is, it's through the Tangent wallet. I have it pinned in the live chat. If you guys don't have a crypto wallet, it's my favorite crypto wallet. I use it every single day. But yeah, swapping crypto, you can do it within the wallet, and I've only had a hiccup one time. But yeah, let me know what's going on, Sustainable Crypto. If I can help you, I will.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on. We're just off the heels of a record quarter here at Digital. We had total new bookings that doubled our prior record just set a quarter ago. All segments have been firing, with our enterprise segment up 20% higher than the prior quarter record. And the larger capacity blocks certainly serving AI, with total signings roughly 50% going towards AI use cases, but still being supported by the traditional demands of cloud computing, digital transformation. And we're building a long runway of growth with now a development pipeline of about north of $7.5 billion that's 75% pre-leased, generating growth for years to come. So we think we're still early, and we're definitely a big player in the digital infrastructure supporting this growth for the likes of NVIDIA and others.
Real quick, SEC Chair Gary Gensler steps down from the department, so let's see, from the agency entirely on January 20th, when the President Donald Trump starts his presidential term, obviously in lieu of him getting fired. That makes sense. It's kind of interesting. United States Securities and Exchange Commission SEC Chair Gary Gensler, known for his hardline stance on cryptocurrency regulation, will depart from the agency on January 20th, 2025. The securities regulator said in a November 21 announcement. Interesting. Pretty interesting. That's awesome. Thank you, Crypto KJ.
It comes to potential available capacity. You spoke with investors and had some slides coming out in November, so just earlier this month. Where do you think the opportunities lie geographically, since you do provide these data center services globally?
So our business spans 50 metropolitan areas on 6 continents, supporting 5,000 customers. So very geographically spread, concentrated locations where there's GDP and population, where the cloud really lives physically, location-wise. Most recently, with the boon of AI demand, we've kind of circled back to what was the most mature market, the United States. And that's been the largest contributor to our new signings. Our markets like Northern Virginia, Dallas, Chicago have been certainly standouts for large contiguous capacity blocks. But I do see this trend globalizing further, just like cloud was very US-centric and became a global phenomenon with GDPR and data sovereignty. And we're very well positioned for that, with major campuses across Frankfurt, Paris, Singapore, Sydney, Tokyo, and the like. So I think that this will become more and more of a global phenomenon as it unfolds.
Andy, Street's definitely looking at the backlog. I wonder how big you think that can possibly get, and whether some of these surveys of CTO spending intentions, if you think they're underestimating or on target for what actually will get bought in, say, the year ahead.
So thanks, Carl. So our backlog is now standing at a record for the company. It represents 20% of our revenue base, and it starts kicking in 2025, 2026, and even on into 2027. I actually think that backlog will likely continue to inflect higher. We are operating, call it 2.7 gigawatts today, but we own on our balance sheet the land runway to future-proof our customers' growth to really double that with another 3+ gigawatts of growth. So it's not going to all come overnight and flow to the bottom line immediately. We are the digital infrastructure, the physical manifestation, the home of AI. We're the GPUs and the H100s and 200s and Blackwells landing now, and we'll be landing in the future. But I think it's going to continue to grow, and I would lean towards the underestimate the total scope of where this can take us.
Sorry, I'm just reading the chat. Interesting, but video though. Sustainable crypto. I did in past KYC. Why do you have to KYC on Changely? What? Now they're asking for hashes for funds used to buy BTC. Why? What does that have to do with anything? That doesn't make any sense. Dude, I will blast them on wherever for you if you want. I'll stand up for you. Tell them you're me. I don't care. Just say you're me and see how they say. Be like, listen, I run a giant YouTube channel and I will ruin you. Please, go ahead. I don't care. Throw me under the bus or act like you're me and tell them you're going to throw them under the bus. And yeah, get that situated. That's bullshit. If you need me to reach out, please just tell me and I will. Digital gold. Let's see. Senator calls for Trump to create Bitcoin strategic reserve over here on Fox Business. See what they had to say about this.
The Bitcoin cavalry is coming to Congress to help the hero who's been holding down the fort all by herself. In fact, Bitcoin Magazine featured Senator Lummis from Wyoming just recently in a post that was talking about the strategic Bitcoin reserve. It said it's a modest proposal, but has huge upside. So let's bring in Republican Senator from Wyoming, Cynthia Lummis. Senator, first and foremost, listen, I know you love that. You look great, by the way, with laser eyes. Let's talk about the Bitcoin Act of 2024, because the most important thing for a lot of people is establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve. On the other hand, though, some people say, why would we need such a thing?
Well, first of all, Charles, I want to compliment you on your newest book. I read it, I loved it, and I recommend it to everybody.
Thank you.
And among the things you raised, Charles, in your book is the importance of having diversified assets, the importance of having some things that are a long-term store of value. And Bitcoin is certainly that. So why Bitcoin would make sense as part of our strategic reserves is that we recognize other long-term stores of value and put them in strategic reserve. We have a gold strategic reserve. We have an oil strategic reserve. I think it is fitting that Bitcoin, now that is really digital gold, be included among our reserve assets. So I'm proposing in the Bitcoin Act that we purchase roughly 200,000 Bitcoin a year just by converting money we already have into Bitcoin and hold them for 20 years. If we did that with, say, 5% of all the Bitcoin that will ever exist, which is roughly 1 million Bitcoin, we could cut our debt in half in 20 years. And in the meantime, we would have an asset that's growing in value while our own dollar is decreasing in value, and thereby we could shore up the US dollar as the world's reserve currency. What that does is help us protect ourselves against inflation and protect the US dollar on the world stage.
So you also have here, so that's the Bitcoin purchase program, proof of reserve system. I want to shoot down to the bottom of the list and come back up because this is something that it seems really critical. Protect Bitcoin property rights, a firm's rights or of self-custody. Talk to us about this because this is, I think, an area where a lot of individuals in the retail side are concerned about.
It's very important that we protect Bitcoin and people who hold their Bitcoin in individual wallets. We don't want to see this asset become owned only by governments, and certainly don't want to see it controlled by governments, because its great virtue is as freedom money. It is infinitely divisible. It can be used all over the world. It is something that you can send from one person to another at a very low cost and very quickly. Its ability to help bring people out of poverty or into the innovator class and the wealthier class is very exciting. And that's why we want to protect individual property rights in Bitcoin and people's individual wallets. Right. There's a phrase, not your keys, not your coin. Your keys are your ability to access your Bitcoin. We want to make sure people have access to their own keys and their own Bitcoin.
Senator, they had a guest on yesterday saying that there are up to 290 pro-crypto lawmakers now heading to Congress or in Congress. But you've been there. How does it feel to sort of take a stand, which at one point was a very lonely stand, and now all of a sudden the whole world seems to have the same epiphany?
Well, I'm delighted to see people have taken the time to understand more about this asset. I'm delighted to see it become part of the U.S. economy, and I'm thrilled that President Trump identified it as something that we should have the beachhead for in the United States. Because thus far, under the current administration, efforts to regulate it through enforcement actions, through penalties and lawsuits, has driven this industry into the arms of other countries, including the European Union. We want to bring them back and have this industry be strong, robust, innovative, and very, very located in the United States, including Bitcoin mining. These are all things that President Trump raised during his campaign, and he seems to be assembling a very pro-Bitcoin cabinet. His leadership understand the asset, not only just Bitcoin, but other digital assets and the opportunities for blockchain. And it then moves into the whole AI culture as well. So I see these things as being part and parcel of creating a 21st century economy that has its anchor in the United States.
Yeah, and let's hope, of course, that the Treasury pick will feel the same way. I got to believe that all the pieces of the puzzle are similar, and that will be the same. Again, congratulations, Senator Lummis, and thank you. You have been absolutely phenomenal, and I appreciate the compliment at the beginning of the interview. Thank you.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. Sustainable, yeah. Send me that link to your tweet in Discord, and I'll ping them today and say something because that's bullshit. I understand that's a lot. So the reason the KYC thing, it's obviously it's over like 120K in Bitcoin that you tried to swap. So I get that, the KYC thing. But Bitcoin's a digital ledger. They shouldn't need any of your transaction hashes. Like it doesn't matter. Trace it back if you want to trace it back. It's my money. Give it back to me. They can't hold your Bitcoin like that. So I'll say something on Twitter for you. That's bullshit. All right, let's see what they got to say again over here about MicroStrategy and Bitcoin. Let's do it.
Let's bring Canaccord Genuity Managing Director, Equity Research Analyst Joseph Vafi. Joe, great to have you with us.
Thanks, Melissa.
The stock has been up more than Bitcoin itself. So how do you make heads or tails of the stock in the move?
Well, I think, Melissa, the best way to look at MicroStrategy is you've got an operating company balance sheet that can take advantage of equity and debt to be able to opportunistically buy Bitcoin. And the company embarked on their Bitcoin acquisition strategy in, I think, August of 2020. And since then, MicroStrategy is the best performing stock in the Fortune 500. You called out that it's outperformed Bitcoin. It's outperformed Bitcoin by double or more in that period of time. Crazy. And so, you look at, investment companies, they can't leverage an operating company balance sheet to exploit the opportunities that MicroStrategy has. That's the high level.
So how do you think about the premium in which MicroStrategy trades versus Bitcoin and what that should be? Because it can't go to the sky, I would imagine. And today it was a key reversal in that it hit a record high at the open, closed at the lows on very heavy volume. I mean, this was a signal technically that maybe things are going to slow down. How do you think about that premium?
Sure. That premium is clearly a point of discussion for investors. The premium has expanded. The premium, which is basically the value, the value of the stock relative to how much Bitcoin they have on their balance sheet. That is what the premium is. It's over 200% right now. So you can look at that as a risk, but you can also look at it as an opportunity for the company because, again, they've got an operating company balance sheet that can exploit that premium to continue to buy Bitcoin. And, just this month, the company has acquired another $4 billion of Bitcoin using equity, and earlier this week also priced a very successful convertible notes offering to raise another $2.5 billion, which we expect the company will put to work, or perhaps already is putting to work, in acquiring more Bitcoin, exploiting that premium to be able to expand Bitcoin per share.
Joe, it's Karen. Thanks for being on. So if you were to back out a valuation for the operating business, I have no idea what that is. What is that? And so then you back into an embedded price for Bitcoin. How big is that premium when you do that exercise?
Sure. So when MicroStrategy embarked upon this Bitcoin acquisition strategy of theirs, it was mostly a software company. It was a very successful business intelligence software company. The Bitcoin strategy has taken on the majority of the enterprise value here. And today, the software business is less than 10% of overall enterprise value here. So when you back that out and you do, perhaps a sum of the parts analysis looking at that, as well as equity and debt on the balance sheet, you end up with a 200% premium, which is basically the value of the stock versus how much Bitcoin they have on their balance sheet.
So it's basically the same. It's the same. I mean, the operating business is so de minimis that the premium is the same, even if you back it out.
Yes, but the key is they have an operating company balance sheet to be able to exploit capital markets to accretively buy Bitcoin. If you were to look at this, say, in comparison to a Bitcoin ETF, well, they don't have an operating company balance sheet.
All right, moving on. We got Fox Business again. NVIDIA CEO gives alarming take on how AI will revolutionize and transform your job. Let's do it. It's not AI that's going to take your job. It's people that know how to use AI.
Fox Business Alert, the world's most valuable company, is on a tear this year. Shares of NVIDIA have soared 199% and account for 22% of the entire S&P's gains this year. The tech titan share price today has been both at a record, then dipping in the red, then up as investors parse through last night's third quarter earnings report. But the company's revenues do not lie. NVIDIA's sales have increased every single quarter, and every quarter the company has beaten analyst estimates. So what does the future look like?
NVIDIA and Tesla are two stocks that you guys should just buy and sit on it.
For the company, and perhaps more importantly, how is AI going to change the way all of us do our jobs? I spoke to NVIDIA's top brass to talk about all of it, AI, and how he is shaping the new industrial revolution. Joining us now in a Fox Business exclusive is NVIDIA founder and CEO Jensen Huang. Jensen, great to have you on the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Nice to see you, Liz. It's great to be here.
Great to have you. The superlatives used to describe not just your earnings, but your outlook range from, I was writing these down, full steam, full throttle, incredible. But the headline really emerges that you guys have a problem most CEOs would love to have. Demand for two of your products, right? Both your Hopper chip and the orders for your new Blackwell chip far exceed the supply you have. What's the most important step you guys are taking to speed up the process to fill these orders?
Well, first of all, I appreciate that. Hopper and Blackwell are two just magnificent computing systems. And what they've done is these two computing systems has really reinvented computing altogether. From software that was written by humans running on CPUs to now machine learning, creating these neural networks that make possible artificial intelligence running on our GPUs. And so as the world modernizes the data centers, $1 trillion of data centers around the world.
Did that just say, hold on.
So as the world modernizes,
72 NVLink Connect Blackwell GPUs. Holy fuck. That's crazy.
Modernizes the data centers, $1 trillion of data centers around the world. The demand is just incredible. And so we're ramping both of these platforms incredibly hard. We had a record quarter this last quarter. We got it to a record quarter next quarter. We're going to go from $0 billion of Blackwell to many billions of dollars of Blackwell. And so it's going to be an incredible thing, but the demand is just incredible.
Yeah. I'm so interested to know some numbers. How big is the backlog for, I guess, both the Hopper and the Blackwell system, the successor that a lot of people want to see? Are you seeing any customer behavior, Jensen, that says, you know what, we're going to wait for the newer Blackwell model?
72 GPUs just to make memes, says Zarkov.
Well, people are modernizing their data centers, and so they just need to get going. And what I advise people to do is that, and they are doing that, which is we're going to create new systems every single year. Buy what you need that year. There'll be something new that you can buy next year, and then you'll just cost average your way through. The reason why it's cost averaging is if we increase the performance every single year, effectively you're reducing your cost for any amount of computation that you want. Instead of the classical old data centers, we're going to, several $100 billion of capex each year will go into these machine learning based and AI based systems. And so we have hundreds of billions of dollars of IT systems that we're going to have to go build over the next several years.
I think the number's been put out there for all these companies, whether they are tech or just basic enterprise. Ramping up and spending on AI is something like $350 billion. But let me tackle the hyperscalers first, meaning the 800-pound gorillas in the AI space who are desperate for your chips. Meta, Google, Microsoft, SoftBank. I would love to know how orders are filled, meaning who gets preference? I mean, does it go by who ordered first or by the size of the customer?
Well, if you don't place an order, it's hard for us to fulfill it. And so
she's trying to get some insider trading info for sure.
Most of them have placed orders. We try to be fair with everyone so that they can all get their AI infrastructure up and running. We also make sure that their infrastructure is ready. And so between us and them, there's no sense shipping computers if the data center and the power and the readiness of the system is not there. And so we work very, very closely with all of our hyperscalers. We've been planning for this for some time. And I think at this point, everybody has stood up their AI infrastructure, the Grace Blackwell systems. I think OCI has shown pictures of it. Google has shown pictures of it. Dell and CoreWeave just showed a picture. I think it was last night. And Satya at his conference announced that they're going to have previews for their customers here pretty soon, and they've got their system up and running. And so everybody's really proud of the systems they've stood up, and we're all just racing to get there.
Yeah, and we're talking about hundreds of thousands of these, and people are dying to get their hands on them. Can I just get some clarity on the question about the overheating? This report over the weekend, there was in the information this report that said that some of these were overheating. Can you just tell me if that was an issue? If it's true, was it an issue basically with the Blackwell chip design, a rack problem, or was it simply that the data centers were not built to the right specs?
It's a non-thing. It's probably somebody who heard somebody doing engineering, integrating our systems into their data centers. In the beginning, there are all kinds of engineering issues, but these are normal things. We're just doing engineering. We know that the Grace Blackwell systems work, and we know that all of the technology now works because we now demonstrated 4 of them standing up. We have lots of them working at our company. We have lots of them working within our customers' companies, and so we're very confident, and we're in good shape with Grace Blackwell production ramp. But it's still, we have thousands of engineers doing all kinds of things. So I'm not sure what they heard, but it's a non-thing.
Well, it's a long way from 32 years ago when you founded the company with just a few employees and a dream. And as you begin to really see this come to incredible fruition, at least when it comes to generative AI, I'm so interested to know about pricing. How do you view pricing? Because if you're having trouble, because you did say into few quarters for fiscal year 2026 that you would see some issues with filling these orders, how can you keep the price the same, and will it rise?
We always do pricing based on the value delivered. And so we're very rigorous with respect to the simulation of these AI factories. In a lot of ways, the way to think about this, Liz, is here's this machinery, this big, huge machinery, and you apply energy to it. And what comes out of it is AI. We call it generative AI. In a lot of ways, it's kind of like generating electricity in the last industrial revolution. And there are all these machinery, these large machinery called AC generators, and they produce electricity. We're now producing this miracle called artificial intelligence.
You said that you're transforming, and AI is transforming every industry, every company out there, all around the world. And we see that. We definitely see that. But you have some of the loudest voices now in Silicon Valley. I'm thinking Mark Andreessen, the venture capitalist from Andreessen Horowitz, saying AI has hit a wall, it's plateaued, it can't go further right now. And he named 2 reasons. He said due to both the lack of enough GPUs and then the training data. It's almost like he was pointing the finger at NVIDIA that you guys aren't getting these out quickly enough. What do you say to that?
well, our demand is greater than our supply, and so we need to get more out. And so we work with thousands of startup companies, and they're called AI native companies. From the ground up, they're built to be an AI company. From the ground up, this is a company that would develop capabilities and new products and services that are made possible because of AI. And we're working with thousands of them, and it's hard to at this moment keep capacity and infrastructure available for every one of them. And so we're working super hard to get there as fast as we can, which is the reason why we're ramping Blackwell so hard. With respect to AI, there's a fair amount of discussion about scaling laws, and the scaling law basically says the larger the model, the more data that you train it with, and the more computing therefore you need, the more effective the AI becomes. And so that's we're kind of on our back foot with respect to the amount of demand that's out there, but we're running as fast as we can to get the supply out there.
Well, it feels like you're not on your back foot, that you are standing pretty tall and holding ground because you are able to just crush it on earnings, and your outlook is pretty impressive too. You talked about growing customer bases in India, and obviously you will have a situation where you have to hold back on China depending on what the regulations are here in the United States. But I'm interested to know if you're hearing from the Middle East. They have had some real ambitions here.
Listen, in just about every single country, and it's sensible, they now realize that their nation's data, their language, whatever their language happens to be, their language, their digital language encodes their nation and their people's knowledge, history, and culture. And they now realize that they have to take that digital data and turn it into their nation's intelligence. And that they can't wait for someone else to come do it for them, that they have to do it themselves. The success that we've enjoyed is largely in the United States. But over time, and very quickly, whether it's in the West or in the East, we're going to see just about every single country jumping onto this AI revolution, this age of AI.
As we finish up, what do you say to people who are very concerned about this? You hear them, and they believe that AI is going to turn us into digital slaves and that the machines will rise and control all of us. You've had these discussions before. What's your gut reaction to that?
AI can do a lot of our tasks, but they can't do 100% of our jobs. That's the big idea. The idea that AI would somehow do 100% of somebody's job is very, very unlikely and quite frankly impractical for any time in the horizon. What is very likely is that AI will do 20, 30, 40% of 100% of the jobs in the world. So what that means is that AI is going to revolutionize and transform everybody's jobs. And it's really important that everybody should learn how to use AI. They're not going to lose their jobs to AI. They're going to lose their jobs, if it happens, they're going to lose their jobs to someone who uses AI. And so that's the most practical way of thinking about it. And for the foreseeable future, that's absolutely going to be true. And jump on AI. I would encourage everybody to use it. And if you haven't had a chance to, use ChatGPT, use Perplexity, use Gemini. These are incredible. Use Claude. These are incredible AIs. I use it every single day.
Yes, I would imagine you do. Just don't.
That's awesome. I use it for my thumbnails. It's super easy. Actually, I use Grok from Twitter. Real quick, so somebody's asking about some miners in the chat. So the X16Q Pro makes about $1.15 a day at 10 cents per kilowatt hour, right? The thing with ETC is there's really no innovation, or there's really no there's no news or anything really going on with it right now. So it's kind of like iffy, right? But the X16Q Pro, or the X16Q in general, you can mine other ETH hash coins, okay? You can mine ETC hash or ETH hash. So like if there's forks that are coming out on Ethereum and you can mine them under 4 gigabytes, or actually I think this is 8, under 8 gigabytes, you can mine potentially more coins, right, to get different bags. The other thing about the DG1 Home, this is the one, which one was it? Right here, DG Home 1 rather. 2 gigahash unit on LTC and Doge. This is the only thing you're going to be able to mine. So if LTC and Doge doesn't do well for some reason, you're kind of stuck with just those 2 coins. So that's probably that person's argument. Mr. Wolf in the chat was asking about that while we were watching that. All right, moving on. SEC over here. Chair Gary Gensler steps down. There we go. I could have just read that title and I would have known. All right, Crypto World, CNBC Television. Let's do it.
Today, Bitcoin soars yet again, crossing $98,000 for the first time. And Anchorage Digital CEO Nathan McCauley weighs in on what institutions are saying about the crypto rally.
If I were you, though, right now I wouldn't buy miners. I would wait for the new stuff.
Welcome to
I would just purchase the coin.
CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Katie Tarasov. It's another day of records for Bitcoin as the cryptocurrency crossed $98,000 for the first time this morning. By noon Eastern, it retreated from that all-time high, but traded more than 3%. Ether, meanwhile, jumped nearly 8%, and Polygon's Pole token gained 0.25%. With Bitcoin hitting record after record since the election, investors have been wondering how long the rally can last. Galaxy Digital's Mike Novogratz joined Squawk Box this morning, where he said to prepare for a pullback.
As you know, we broke $99,400.
I am very confident we don't go back below 80. Very confident, right? That's kind of where we took off for 76, 77, pre-election, that election move. It would be shocking to me if we went back. But listen, there's a ton of leverage in the system right now. You look at these 3 times levered, MicroStrategy ETFs, 2-time levered. You look at the funding rates to do crypto in our market, right? The perpetual market, as high as they've been, the basis is high. And so the crypto community is levered to the gilts. And so there will be a correction.
Okay, one big story we're tracking this afternoon. The SEC says Gary Gensler will leave the commission on January 20th. A Thursday press release noted that Gensler's departure will be effective at noon on Inauguration Day, just as Trump takes office. Gensler said, "I thank President Biden for entrusting me with this incredible responsibility. The SEC has met our mission and enforced the law without fear or favor." The move from Gensler comes after Donald Trump promised on the campaign trail to fire Gensler, as he was seen as hostile to the crypto industry. Trump is reportedly now looking to seat a new SEC chair who will be friendlier to the technology. Under Gensler's tenure, the agency filed more than 100 enforcement actions against crypto companies. For the latest on how this is affecting prices, be sure to check CNBC.com. All right, let's jump to our main story. Crypto markets and potential regulation under Trump's next administration are still in focus. Crypto World's Mackenzie Sigalos spoke to Anchorage Digital's co-founder and CEO Nathan McCauley to find out what the digital assets platform is hearing from institutions.
So Nathan, talk to me about what you've been hearing from institutions since the election.
So institutions were already, I think, prior to the election, interested in coming into the digital asset ecosystem. I think there's been a lot of pent-up demand. We saw that last year with the growth of the Bitcoin ETFs. Now that has been even more accelerated, where we're seeing not just, say, buy-side firms who are looking to take positions here, but also sell-side firms starting to say, how do I build a Bitcoin business on top of the new administration and everything that's going in? So I think there's a lot of opportunity both on people looking to invest in Bitcoin and more traditional players looking to come into the Bitcoin ecosystem. Expectation of repeal of SAB 121 and a number of other blockers that we think will be a catalyst for more growth in the digital asset ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, we've got options that are listing on both the NASDAQ and NYSE this week. It's almost baked in at this point that the SEC will just abolish SAB 121 on their own because it doesn't require an act of Congress. And then the third piece of this trifecta is really getting some sort of comprehensive crypto market infrastructure bill passed into law in the new session, which would then really open the doors to Wall Street feeling comfortable investing cash. That's my understanding. Is there any other piece of this that needs to come into place, or is that really the 3 criteria here for institutions?
I think those are all directly part of it. What I would add to that is, President Trump campaigned on a couple of very interesting ideas. The first one being the strategic nature of stablecoins to the dominance of the U.S. dollar globally as a big buyer of treasuries and as an opportunity to really kind of expand the reach of the dollar. So I think we're going to see stablecoins play a big role in that. And then also the idea of the Bitcoin strategic reserve. It's almost in itself a self-fulfilling prophecy where, because people are thinking about the U.S. maybe allocating toward the Bitcoin strategic reserve, we're seeing some of the state governments start to look at that. Also interest from other sovereign wealth funds globally that are going to be interested in that. This is just going to drive, I think, more demand among the institutional investor base for taking positions in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I've been speaking with different members of the crypto industry who are advising the Trump team. And, there is some question around whether he could, through an executive order, launch an SBR. And if he is able to, if it's worth the expenditure of political capital, where do you stand on that?
I'm a big fan of it. Warren Buffett famously said that his favorite holding period is forever. Trump at Nashville said that the most important thing with Bitcoin is that you never sell. So I think the first point of that is the U.S. already owns a bunch of Bitcoin via the law enforcement agency work that has happened over the last several years. So that's a great place to start, is just keep the existing Bitcoin and keep that forever. And then the idea of potentially allocating even more and maybe going out and market buying some makes sense if we want to be a big force in the next century around digital assets and about everything going on within this industry. I think it makes sense for the government to take a really good look at that. And so I think that's definitely something to consider. We're close with Senator Lummis's team that is thinking about that. And so I think it's a great debate to have here. And I would come down on the side of that makes sense for the U.S.
Are you in touch with Donald Trump or members of his transition team?
So the transition team, I think, is very focused on picking some of the high level appointments, and so we as Anchorage have been in contact with them before. We participated in the roundtable at Bitcoin Nashville, and now kind of after the election, as they look to appoint people to run, say, the Securities Exchange Commission and the other federal banking agencies. There's a lot of very high impact choices there, and so we're looking forward to seeing which folks come out in any of those areas. We're supportive of many of the potential picks there. Many of them are crypto adjacent folks, and so very excited to see how that all plays out.
Would you single out any names that you've put forth for either Treasury Secretary or SEC Chair?
On the topic of Treasury Secretary, some of the names are being thrown around. Kevin Warsh. Kevin Warsh has been a friend to the crypto industry for a very long time. Actually, has been an advisor to Anchorage since the very earliest days, and so very supportive of him. Senator Haggerty has been wonderful, thinking about stablecoin legislation, the importance of stablecoins as a strategic asset, kind of globally for the expansion of the U.S. dollar and its dominance globally. And then Mark Rowan has been within Apollo, really pushing forward a crypto forward agenda there. So among those names, you can't really go wrong as far as we're concerned.
We've seen the ETF market for the spot crypto products really heat up in the last few weeks. The collective AUM is now north of $115 billion just across the spot Bitcoin ETFs. Talk to me about Anchorage Digital's move into this market.
So we've been working with those issuers since before the Bitcoin ETFs were approved, in deep conversations with them. Now what we're seeing, certainly with the recent price action and then the expectation for further bullishness in the space, all of them looking to understand how they can diversify their custody situations. And so I think there's a lot of really good conversations happening there. We already are serving as a custodian to some of them, and looking forward to seeing that partnership extend over time, where Bitcoin and Bitcoin ETFs will be only the first of many over time, where we'll see more of the digital assets either get kind of spot single asset wrapper ETFs, or even start to think about basket ETFs as more assets get added into that. And then looking even forward, we should see things like ETH ETFs being able to allow staking. The ETH ETFs have been surprisingly popular, given the fact that you can't participate in staking. It would be almost as if a bond ETF didn't get to have the coupons, and how boring would that be as an ETF? So I think the ETH ETFs being able to get staking, the other assets being able to get staking, all is on the table, and should be interesting to see how that plays out.
That'll give ETH a good push, actually, if that happens. I mean, it's kind of weird because it is proof of stake now at this point, and if they can't stake the ETF, that's kind of weird. All right, moving on to videos. Bitcoin is about to hit 100,000. Mr. Anthony Pompliano, what's it at right now? Let's see, 98,122. Not too bad. Could be worse, right? It's actually fantastic. All right, let's see what Anthony Pompliano's going to say. Love this guy. If you guys don't know who he is, go check out. Link is in the description in this video right here.
Bitcoin's about to cross $100,000, and that is going to change the world. Let me explain. Bitcoin is a digital currency that's decentralized, owned by nobody. Started in 2009, and all of a sudden it went from zero, and it's about to cross that $100,000 price point. Why is that important? Well, first, it's a round number, and humans like round numbers, and so it's going to get a lot of attention. People can't comprehend the fact that a digital currency could be worth so many dollars. But more importantly than that, $100,000 signals the fact that Bitcoin is not going anywhere. And so when it was smaller, a lot of large capital pools, big institutions, financial organizations, countries, sovereign wealth funds, etc. They saw Bitcoin, people would tell them to buy it, and they always would say the same thing. It's too risky and it's too small. I have a lot of money. If I want to make money, I got to put a lot of money to work. But when Bitcoin started to get larger, it became less risky. It's the only asset I know in finance. The larger that the price point is, the less risky it becomes. And now all of these big capital pools can start to allocate. So why did I say that the world is going to change? Well, Bitcoin is a reflexive asset. This idea of reflexivity is incredibly important. It means that as the price goes higher, more capital will pour in, which will push the price higher. The fact that it is a reflexive asset means that it can accelerate at a very quick speed. Let's go back to 2020 and I'll show you what I mean. Bitcoin was trading around $10,000 in September of 2020. By March of 2021, about 6 months later, all of a sudden Bitcoin was then trading at $64,000. That's more than 600% increase in a short period of time. Why does that happen? Because when Bitcoin moves, the world pays attention. As it gets more attention, the news is talking about it. People are, from a word of mouth standpoint, are telling their friends, more capital pours in. It's a finite asset. And so that finite asset has to go up in price in order to accommodate everyone. It's not like a stock. A stock that sees a lot more demand and starts trading higher, the company usually will issue more shares. They'll try to satisfy the demand and raise capital. No one can create more Bitcoin. And so a finite supply with more demand means the price has to go up. That's just economics 101. Now, here's what's most interesting to me. Bitcoin already has had a terrific run over the last year. It's up 160%. Bitcoin is up 130% year to date. Compare the last year of Bitcoin at 160% to the S&P 500. It's only up 30%. Bitcoin has destroyed the S&P and the stock market. But it doesn't feel like Bitcoin is at all-time highs. If you go and you look at Google search trends, they're up, but they're not up as much as they were in past bull markets. If you go and you look at the news, they're talking about Bitcoin, but it isn't every single story like it has been in past bull markets. And so I believe that we still have a long way to go in this bull market, which means that when Bitcoin crosses this $100,000 threshold, the world is going to take notice. It is such an absurd number for a digital currency that you can't ignore it anymore. There's going to be financial advisors, large financial institutions, very big sovereign wealth funds, and countries that all say, now I need to start doing this. On top of that, we have MicroStrategy, which just raised another $3 billion that they're going to start buying Bitcoin as well. They're literally buying it right now, and I think they're one of the contributors that's pushing the Bitcoin price higher. And so anytime that you see an asset like Bitcoin going up this much, it always begs the question from the critics, well, what is the actual use case of Bitcoin? That is where I think the Bitcoin community has done a poor job of communicating. We try to sit and defend Bitcoin as if it needs to be the next global reserve currency or it needs to be used to buy a coffee in a coffee store. But instead, holding Bitcoin is the use case. There are 8+ billion people in the world that have their currency devalued, thanks to their governments and their central banks. They have no way to protect their purchasing power unless they're going to go and spend enormous amounts of money, get mortgages and bank approvals to buy real estate. Or maybe they have to go and sign up for brokerage accounts and get approvals to buy stocks. But instead, Bitcoin, it simply says, regardless of who you are, as long as you have an internet connection, you are allowed to buy this asset. You can store your economic value in it, and it will protect you. It will protect you from the central banks devaluing your currency. It will protect you from losing your purchasing power. That idea was first embraced by individuals. Then we saw corporations and financial institutions, and now we are knocking on the door of countries. But everyone has the exact same problem. The fiat currencies in the world are going to be devalued. How do I know? The United States just crossed over $36 trillion national debt. We are adding about $10 billion per day. If you look at the last 3 months, we've added almost $900 billion to the national debt. These numbers are bonkers, and there is no slowing down in our future. Instead, the national debt continues to grow to the sky, and Bitcoin goes up at the same time. Bitcoin is calling the bluff of the politicians. It's telling us that the national debt is going up. They're going to have to devalue your currency, and more people want Bitcoin. And again, if we go back to that idea of a finite supply, there will only ever be 21 million. That signals that if you can go and you can buy half of a Bitcoin, 1 Bitcoin, 2 Bitcoin, 3 Bitcoin, it's likely to be much more valuable in the future. Today's episode is brought to you by BitKey. They are the hardware.
Nope, not doing this.
Many things that are said on the internet, there's many conspiracies that go very quickly because information travels so fast these days. But one thing is turning out to be very true. The Bitcoiners were right. They have been calling out the devaluation of the currency. They've been calling out the national debt accelerating. They've been calling out the fact that a finite supply of a digital decentralized currency would be incredibly valuable in the future. The Bitcoiners don't get everything right, but this they got very right. And so this is how markets work. People who risk their capital to buy Bitcoin early, they are generating an economic return. More free markets are needed in our society. Bitcoin is simply the epitome of it. And the more that we can see that these people risked not
Bitcoin's at $8,200 right here.
only their capital, but also reputation in many cases, to go and buy Bitcoin early and then hold it, which is a very undervalued point. Imagine buying an asset at a couple $100 and watching it go from a couple hundred to a couple thousand, back down to a couple hundred, then up to 10,000, then back down to a couple thousand, then up to 20,000, and then back down 80%, and continuing to do that over and over and over again through all these cycles until Bitcoin finally hits $100,000. And you never sold. That's the definition of diamond hands. And so many people will say that the Bitcoiners got lucky, but the Bitcoiners were right. And if Bitcoiners are still holding Bitcoin today at 100,000, it means they held through all that volatility. I personally believe the buying is easy, but the selling is the hard part. And there's a lot of people who bought Bitcoin early, and at some point along the journey, they stepped off the train. They said, I've had enough from a return standpoint. I don't think Bitcoin has much more to go from here, and they simply sold their Bitcoin to somebody else. Those people are probably regretting it now. And so when we watch Bitcoin continue to rise, remember to be gracious in victory. There are plenty of people who don't yet know about Bitcoin. They don't understand how powerful the technology is, and they don't realize how important it will be for the societies moving forward. But instead of gloating, instead of dancing on graves, spend the time to educate them. Welcome them into the Bitcoin community. Somebody did that for you, and you should do that for them. Help more and more people learn about this technology, because every single person in the world can benefit from it. And then, as you see stories floating around, remember that Bitcoin has no executive team. It has no board of directors. It has no marketing campaigns. Instead, the only marketing of Bitcoin are the people, the holders. And the joke in CrossFit is, how do you know someone does CrossFit? They'll tell you. The same thing is with Bitcoin. How do you know someone owns Bitcoin? They'll tell you. And so the more that people spread word of mouth, the more that people educate individuals one-to-one, there's a bottoms-up revolution. That is where Bitcoin continues to spread globally. There are estimated to be hundreds of millions of holders today. I think that eventually there will be billions of people holding Bitcoin. We now have corporations that are all competing. There's MicroStrategy and MetaPlanet, Semler Scientific, DeFi Technologies, miners like Hut 8, Riot, Marathon, and others. Every single one of those companies wants more Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Bitcoin is an asset, but Bitcoin is an idea. And that idea's time has come. We are watching history. It has been incredible to be on this journey with all of you. I just continue to think how fortunate we are to be here right now in this moment. I have met hundreds, if not thousands of people over the last few years. These are everyday Americans or everyday citizens of the globe. They're not trying to take over. They simply want a better life for them and their families. And Bitcoin offered hope to every single one of them. Some of them started off buying $10 a week. Others already had some money and bought much more. But every single one of them saw the same opportunity to take their economic value, to store it in a digital asset that was going to benefit as the dollar got devalued. To each one of you who did the work, congratulations. You not only did the work to learn, but you also took the time to take action. There's a lot of people who said, I shoulda, I woulda, or I coulda. But the Bitcoiners, they're the ones who actually did it. And as Bitcoin crosses $100,000, not only is it a great milestone, but it's a signal that the Bitcoiners were right and the Bitcoiners understand we still have a long way to go. There are still billions of people in the world who don't understand the technology and don't hold the asset. But my guess is that's going to change in the coming years and decades. What a beautiful ride. We are so fortunate. Be gracious in victory. And Bitcoin is now closing in on $100,000.
Perfect. That was a great speech from him, actually. That was a really good video. You know, it's funny. It's you could walk in the mall and ask 100 people if they know about Bitcoin. And literally 80% of those people will ask you what that is or not have any idea what the F you're talking about still, right? And it's kind of eye-opening just realizing how many people don't know what it is and how many people aren't involved in it yet. It's just, it's crazy. But it was funny, I was at, we were getting a rental car for, obviously I'm remote right now, right? We were getting a rental car and the guy at like the budget desk, my wife was wearing a Bitcoin like long sleeve shirt and he was like, oh, I love your shirt. And she like had to run to get like her ID or something. And he was like, he's like, it's gonna go over 100,000. I was like, oh, easily. I'm like, wait till Trump gets in. It's gonna go way higher than that. And friggin' 2 days later, we're like sitting at, you know, 100K right now, which is a riot. All right, let's see, where are we at right here? I want to go to this. Mr. Altcoin Daily over here, Austin. This #1 Bitcoin chart predicts what's next for crypto after 100K. I have no idea what this is about. Apologize if any shills in it, but I'll try to skip it. Let's do it.
We're closing in, as we said, 100. When does that happen, sir?
Bitcoin is on the cusp of breaking above $100,000 per coin for the first time in history. Some people are asking the question, am I too late? Am I too late to buy? Or is this rally just getting started? Well, let's look at the...
If you think you're too late and you buy and the price goes down, don't panic sell, just hold it. The biggest mistake you can do is sell for a loss because Bitcoin's proven itself to always go back up, right? And the other thing is don't ever invest more than you can afford to lose. If you're panicking over what you just invested and the money's going down, you don't have that money to spend, so don't do it.
The on-chain data and see exactly where we are in the cycle. Seriously, watch today's whole video because there's one chart that truly does predict where crypto's headed next. And let's just remember the paradigm shift that just happened.
What I think listeners have to understand is when Donald Trump got elected, there was a paradigm change. And we have a hard time trading paradigm changes. What I mean by that is 4 years with a really harsh regulatory and political climate for people in this industry, and now wide open. The entire cabinet almost owns Bitcoin and is proponents of digital assets. I mean, Kennedy said his whole net worth is in Bitcoin. So the people around that table are very pro this space. They're pro innovation, they're pro digital assets, they're pro Bitcoin. And I think the rest of the world has to take notice, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it with buying from the Mideast.
And while Trump's pick for U.S. Treasury Secretary is a big Bitcoin believer, he actually just spoke at the Bitcoin conference.
If we do end up hearing that Senator Bill Hagerty ends up being a Treasury pick and he's called Bitcoin Bill, I mean, do you imagine that would be another catalyst, and could that push us beyond that 100,000?
Also, Trump's Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick, huge Bitcoin accumulator, he's actively buying.
I have hundreds of millions of dollars.
Okay.
Okay, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars.
exposure to Bitcoin.
But in breaking news, as of this morning, SEC Chair Gary Gensler will step down. He is departing from the agency on January 20th, which is a huge weight lifted off the crypto industry. We can now have clear regulation and not just regulation by enforcement without knowing the rules. In a direct quote from Gary Gensler, he said, "The Securities and Exchange Commission today announced that its 33rd chair, Gary Gensler, will step down from the commission effective 12 p.m. January 20th, 2025. I thank President Biden for entrusting me with this incredible responsibility." So the Trump pump, and more importantly,
amazing.
a new regime has begun.
As a trader, though, if you're just trying to trade this, as you know so well, there are times when it blows through whatever you think the target is, and 100, you're saying now maybe it blows through that. There's also been these sort of remarkable retrenchments where, it retraces 50%.
So what's next for Bitcoin?
Andrew just looks sad. He just looks sad. He's just so defeated even talking about Bitcoin. It's the best.
And the beauty of Bitcoin, because it's on 100% public blockchain, we have on-chain data that the elites, crypto elites, are starting to use. Most average people don't look at these charts. They really should, if you're invested in Bitcoin. And the Puell multiple, first chart of 3, I really like because it gives us insight into what the Bitcoin miners are doing. And the Bitcoin miners, who have a long history with Bitcoin, do usually tend to have their finger on the pulse of where we are in the market.
What the Puell multiple does is it tracks the current miner income in US dollars, which is generally how all power and capex is covered by miners, and it compares it to the yearly average of that income.
So in layman's terms, are the Bitcoin miners holding because they think prices are going higher, or are they selling because they think prices are sort of toppy? The Puell multiple is calculated by dividing the daily issuance value of Bitcoin that are mined into existence every day by the 365-day moving average of daily issuance value. This allows us to start to see the trends.
And what this provides is an indication of when we have a high degree of profitability relative to that yearly baseline, which can then create an incentive to sell, or in periods when we have very poor profitability, suggesting that there is some form of income stress and potential miner capitulation that can then change the overall hash shares that's distributed across the network.
And how I like to use this chart, and by the way, hit the like button if you appreciate this alpha, but I use this chart by looking for extremes. For example, if we're getting a high extreme, that means the miners are more incentivized to sell.
If we're looking at very high values of the Puell multiple, it's suggesting that the current daily income is much higher than their yearly average, and that very high profitability is creating an incentive to sell, which can then create an increase in the overall liquid supply as miners liquidate parts of their treasury in order to take advantage of that market strength.
Or of course, if we're seeing a very low value, that means the miners have very low incentive to sell.
And conversely, very low values of the Puell multiple suggest that the current daily income is substantially less than the yearly average, and that can generally suggest that there's a capitulation event in play. And at the end of large mining cycles, we can have a shift in the overall share of hash rate, where weaker miners have to drop off the network, turning off their machines. Stronger miners gain a larger share of the hash network, and therefore they can actually sell fewer coins in order to cover the same fiat expenses.
So what's next for Bitcoin? Where is the Puell multiple today? And we're really right in the middle of the cycle. Buying Bitcoin today, in terms of how profitable are the miners and are they incentivized to sell, buying Bitcoin at today's Puell multiple value is like buying Bitcoin right here. Look at that dot above. Like right here, look at that top dot last cycle. Or like buying Bitcoin, if we're looking back in 2017, like right here in the 2017 bull run. So Bitcoin miners do sell some every day typically. They also do hold a lot every day typically. And looking at the long history of how miners have reacted, we're nowhere close to the end of this Bitcoin bull run.
Normally you hit 100, you bounce off of it. I would not be surprised if, we go much higher. We're in price discovery. There's not a lot of supply. There had been a giant seller for the last week between 92, 93, and 94. Probably $14-15 billion of Bitcoin sold there. I know because we saw the buying. Not us personally, but the U.S. market.
Now, of course, it's not just about one metric, one chart. It's about reading multiple charts, pulling from multiple data sources, so I can make the best decision for me as a crypto investor. I really want to recommend you subscribe to Altcoin Daily because we drop one video per day, keeping you informed. It's really just one video per day, and over time, you can start to become an expert in this stuff. So the next chart I want to show you is the Bitcoin MB/RV Z-score. It sounds complicated, just stay with me. And actually, to get to this, we first have to understand Bitcoin realized price. Because we know Bitcoin's regular price is just whatever the coin market cap says, the regular price, now just under 100K. But Bitcoin's realized price, slightly different. Many people say it may be a more accurate way to value the network. And Bitcoin's realized price is the average price of the Bitcoin supply valued at the day each coin last transacted on chain. So what this assumes is once you buy your Bitcoin, you put it in storage, you hold, and the only next reason you would move that Bitcoin again, an on-chain transaction, is if you want to sell. Why move your Bitcoin unless you want to buy or sell? So this is the average of that realized price of the last time all Bitcoin in supply did that, today's average price is closer to 35, probably pushing $45,000 today. To me, this says if the worst should happen and the bear market started today, we typically won't go under or won't spend a lot of time under that realized price. And actually what I think we'll see, because I don't think we're going into a bear market, but I think we'll see in the...
That's kind of neat to look at that, actually, because we did come below. That's neat. You know, this line, this is kind of like, there's a lot of different type of trend lines or indicators that you can watch that these lines will kind of act like a magnet. So when you're like really high above it, typically they're going to meet up at some point. So it's either it's one's got to turn up or we're going to come down type deal.
The bull markets, that realized price gets brought up to a more fair value. But anyway, understanding realized price, let's move on to a really interesting chart, Bitcoin MVRV Z-score. The MVRV Z-score evaluates whether BTC is overvalued or undervalued relative to its fair value. So this uniquely compares the regular market value of Bitcoin to the realized value, meaning this is comparing the two, charting it over time, and it's been a pretty clear indicator of when Bitcoin's near a top.
So the way to think about this, and for any of you who've been kind of absorbing our video content or our webinars in the past, you'll know that I love to bring in the layer of human psychology. So if the MVRV ratio is basically charting out current price, which is market value, spot price, market cap, divided by realized price, which we often consider to be the acquisition price. So the current value divided by the acquisition value, that will give you a profit multiple. When it's above 1, it's going to give you a we are in profit. When it's below 1, it's going to give you we are in loss on average. And the psychological concept here is that at some point in time, everybody sees a green enough number in their portfolio that they feel motivated to sell. And likewise, at the very, very bottom of bear markets, there's only so much pain that the human can take. And when we look at our financial portfolio and it's just red, 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 at some point in time, that elicits the same response of people flushing out their coins. So that's why it tends to work on these extremes. We're looking at points in time when people become exceedingly likely to distribute their coins, and that generally triggers some kind of cycle change.
And what does this chart tell us today? Again, we're right in the middle of the cycle. The time to buy was back in 2022, end of 2022, clear buy zone. By the way, Altcoin Daily was sharing that with you. Whales quietly buying Bitcoin, Ethereum to explode after merge in September. Ethereum's price was around $1,200 back then. Again, you can go back on some of our old videos 2 years ago. You are being lied to about cryptocurrency in 2022.
The Bitcoin's realized price is at what level each coin actually traded hands. But just know, many people use realized price as sort of a more accurate way to determine the value of the underlying Bitcoin network.
We were sharing with you why this does have value when the elites back then, even Larry Fink of BlackRock, was saying, nah, Bitcoin's nothing. But essentially what this is telling me is we're not close to a bottom, we're not close to a top. But let's start to check back in on all these metrics every 4-6 weeks and keep tabs on these so subscribers of this channel are the most prepared. And for all you trading on Margex who opened up their...
Nope, not trading on Margex, shilling that shit. All right. Anyways, guys, recapping, if I could speak. I am exhausted, Miss Pocket Change. Thanks for showing up in the live stream. All right, let's do it. Bitcoin, 97,873 bucks. You guys think we're gonna hit 100K? You guys think it's gonna happen today? I'm not sure, it might. Usually when the stock market closes, some money comes into crypto because people traded over the weekend, but we're gonna have to see what happens. XRP is killing it, 25% up on the day, $1.42. We got Ethereum over here at 3,300 bucks, basically. Let's see, AVAX is up 6.83%, $38.24. XLM, 20% up on the day to 29 cents. I think Near Protocol is going to do well. It's still like 70% down or so. $5.59. Do what you want. Don't take advice from people on YouTube. Caspa is slowly falling off a cliff. It's 14.5 cents or so. I think it's going to be fine, but we need more than just Kraken listing. We need Binance. We need Coinbase for this thing to start moving in the positive direction, in my opinion, or at least to break the new all-time high, or a new all-time high. Dogecoin, 40 cents. Dogecoin's looking fantastic, by the way. Just saying. Dogecoin's been doing really well. It's holding 40 cents. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Its all-time high was like 73 cents, but overall, I don't think, I'm not sure Dogecoin is going to push past that super easily. It's just, we have a lot to go. If you guys look at like the market cap per se, right, for Dogecoin, and it being an unlimited coin, there's no cap on the coin. It can just continuously be mined. To have a $58 billion market cap, to double that would get you to the 80 cent mark, 116 billion. Yeah, that's a lot. That would be flipping Solana. And I don't know, for a meme coin, it could happen. It absolutely could happen when Dogecoin or the Department of Government Efficiency happens. Anything could happen, right? But who knows? All right, crypto bubbles over here. Peanut down 17.3%. This meme coin ripped up and then ripped right back down. But it made people millionaires. This guy made like, what was it, freaking $13 million or something off of like a $16 trade. It's freaking insane. Absolutely insane. My wife says my hair has been a mess the entire time. The trip, yeah, she forgot her hair straightener in the car. It's actually kind of funny. I told her I'd buy her another one, but she doesn't want it, so whatever. 26% XRP up again, $1.41 over there, looking awesome. That's the biggest earner of the day. Biggest loser's Peanut. Nothing too crazy. All right, Flashbang, Fear and Greed Index. Again, we're at a 94. This is when you guys need to understand it's probably time to take a little bit of profits and wait for the needle to come back down, and then whatever. We're gonna be seeing this though. It's gonna be slamming back and forth. The next like month or two, it's gonna be fucking wild. And I'm not gonna lie, in January on the 20th, when 2025 is here and Trump takes office, this thing is probably gonna be fucking, it's gonna be like 97 for sure. No chance it's not gonna be, but that's it, guys. All right, I'm out of here. I got stuff to do. Daddy duty, kid stuff, Disney stuff. As you can see, this, yeah, it's insane. Insane, this garage that I'm in. These people have too much money out here. Oh, trying to fix my camera. It's not working very well. Anyways, you guys are all awesome. I appreciate you hanging out with me today, updating myself. Sorry I wasn't here yesterday, and I probably won't be. You know what? I don't know if we're gonna do live. I know Hawk's gonna come visit tonight, so we might go live Saturday, but we have to see what's going on. He's gonna stay with us tonight though, so we'll see. We'll make plans at some point. But hopefully you guys have a safe and happy Friday. I'm gonna leave you guys with this. Hopefully you guys have a good one, and I will. I'll see you guys on Monday for sure, regardless when I'm home. Back to the daily grind, the normal daily grind. All right. I'll see you guys later, and peace out. Let me get this all situated. Later. If I can figure out how to do this. Portfolio, I wanna hold until I can't no more. Have a safe and happy Friday, people.